All right, Brandi, thank you so much for being on the podcast today.
Thanks for
I'm
having
excited
me.
to talk with you. You and I connected on Instagram. I love
Yep.
having Instagram friends. So
Yeah. Yeah. Super excited to be here. And I just feel like we have, just in the discussions that we've had on Instagram, I'm excited to dive into it a little bit more deeply. So thanks for having me.
yeah. So tell us a little bit about who you are, what you do, all that good
Yeah.
stuff.
So I am a wife and a mother first. I have got a 13-year-old and a 15-year-old, both boys. They're crazy busy in sports and all the things. My husband is a real estate broker. We together invest in properties. We've got an Airbnb in Panama City Beach, Florida, that we love. That is really a direction that we kind of want to like lean more heavily into. Especially, as our kids start to become at the age where it's like, wow, they're not going to be in our homes forever.
Yeah.
I'm also an online boutique owner. I've owned Sister Bird Boutique for 5.5 years now.
Mhm.
And I am a coach for high achieving women as well. And that started for me back in February, March-ish.
Mhm.
And I'm just obsessed with it and I'm loving it so much because I just get so fired up, like helping women to see wins. And
Yeah.
it was hard for me to nail down like the specialty, the niche, because life and business bleed into each other. So if there are areas of your life, your home life, that are struggling, you're going to see the effects of that in your business and vice versa.
Mhm.
So that's kind of a big focus for me right now. Just something, I'm at a stage in my life. I'm 40 years old and I just want to have fun and impact people, period.
Yeah.
Like that's where I'm at. So
I
yeah,
love that. I love that.
yeah.
I'm right behind you. I'll be 40 next year. So
Yes. Yeah.
Mhm.
It's, I don't mind. Like, I feel like I'm stronger and healthier than I've ever been. Like, we should be a little smarter, a little wiser right
Yes.
now. So
Yes.
I'm embracing it.
More secure, more
Yeah.
confident. Like we've
Yeah.
been through some battles, we've learned some
Right.
lessons.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, all the things. So I'm here for it. And I'm not falling into the lie that like once we reach a certain age, it's just like all downhill.
Yes.
Like
Love it.
I'm not.
Love it.
So yeah.
Yes. No, I know. I feel like, okay, and for me, I started having kids later in life. So I have two littles.
Mhm.
My son's 2.5, my daughter's 1. And I feel like I'm weaning her, for I
Mhm.
breastfed her for like a year. And now I'm like, okay, I'm ready to have me back now. Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
uh,
Yeah. And we're in that season where our kids are 13 and 15. My oldest is going to be driving in less than a year.
oh my
They
gosh.
don't need us in the hands-on way that they
Yeah.
did for years. And so now my husband and I are at the season where we're like, it's just the two of us sometimes.
Yeah.
The boys are starting to like develop their own hobbies and lives outside of us. And that's not, I don't want to believe that that has to be horrible either. Like, I just want to love every season that we're in. And
Mhm.
we're having a lot of fun, like just in the times that it just gets to be the two of us and kind of dreaming about what the future might look like. Not that we're wishing and like waiting for the kids to leave, but like, I'm not going to believe that when my kids leave, that that's the end of the world either. Like,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? I want us to just as a family, as individuals, to just love every season that we're in.
Mhm.
And so, yeah, that's where we're at.
That's that's such a great perspective. And I love that's why I love talking to you, because you just have this energy and this, like, you're excited, you're having fun. And
Yeah.
it looks like, obviously on social media, but like you literally, you're enjoying life. You're like taking it in stride. And I love to see that, and I think so
Yeah.
many people need to see that. I know I've had
Yeah.
seasons
Well,
where
thanks
I've
for
not
that.
had fun,
Thanks.
and I want
Uh,
more
it
fun ones.
it comes back to bite me sometimes. My youngest was wanting to drop his math class the other day, and he said, "But mom, don't you coach
Totally.
that we should be able to live life in our joy zone? Math is not bringing me joy." And he's like, don't you say that we should just get to do everything that we love? Like, don't you love everything that you do? And I'm like, I have earned that, dear. Like, you're not there
Like
yet.
you do have to do some of those,
Yeah,
the due
yeah,
diligence,
yes,
check
yeah,
the boxes.
right. Like, it's not all rainbows and butterflies. It is going to be hard.
Yeah. Oh my
So yeah,
gosh.
yep.
So you and I were chatting a little bit before, obviously we hit record, but I'm curious, I don't know if you want to share like how you were kind of leading into a little bit of like how your boutique got started and what that season looks like when your business was like super, super busy, and just kind of
Yeah.
some lessons that you learned along the way.
Yeah. So I think a misconception of me, because online I'm coach and I'm coaching strategy and productivity and all these things, but it's important that people understand I'm not a type A personality. I'm not organized by nature. Like there have been several things within my life that have happened that I'm like, whoa, I need to learn organization. I need to like start to walk out some self-discipline in some areas. So one of those things for me too is that I had aneurysms like 11 years ago. And so that kind of created some challenges with my memory and like cognitive functioning.
How old were you
And
when that happened? You were in your 20s?
28, I was 28. The boys were 1 and 3. It was over Christmas. It was crazy. It was crazy.
Wow.
And so that forced me into an area of like I've got to really start having some systems because I'm forgetting to get my kids from school. Things like that were
Wow.
like really can be challenging for a woman, for anyone.
Yeah.
So that was kind of like the start of having to kind of start having some real systems in place. But then also when I launched my boutique 5.5 years ago, I at the time was a leader in a direct sales company, and I didn't I think I was just oblivious to the influence that I had within that company. And so when Sister Bird launched, it was literally an overnight success. Like, I don't know what it's like to have a boutique that's doing $1,000 a month or $5,000 a month. Like, we did $10,000 in sales like in our first weekend. And it was just on from there. Like, there was my Facebook group grew to 10,000 people in like 3 days or something.
Oh my God.
So
your phone is like,
yes, we were literally at dinner and I was thinking, I'm going to sell a couple of shirts every now and then. And my husband and I were out to dinner, and my phone, I didn't have the sound off, and Shopify like makes a little cha-ching
like a
sound.
Yeah.
And my phone's just going cha-ching, cha-ching. And we're like, excited but also panicked because we're like, how are we going to ship these orders? Like, we don't even know what to do right now. And so my kids actually ended up going with my in-laws that weekend, and we shipped the whole weekend.
Wow.
And so within the first 2 weeks, I hired my first staff member. And so I was forced to like adapt really quickly and create systems really quickly. And then when COVID happened, which was 2 years later, almost exactly, we were doing great numbers already. But then when COVID happened, people had nothing better to do than online shop. And we do live sales. So we're social sellers. And so there were days that I was doing 2 live sales a day. And I'm also an Enneagram 3. So like, the more success, the better, the more achievement, the better. And so I could have slowed things down and just not had as many new arrivals, right? Like, I could have controlled that in some capacity, but I didn't. And I'm like, everything's selling out with 1 live sale. What happens if we do 2 live sales? And, and so
let's turn it up.
Yeah, let's just like go big or go home. And, staffing was really challenging during that time. There was a period when, we weren't supposed to drive to a job and unless you were essential and things like that. So here we've got double the numbers that we were already doing, without the staff support. And it was just crazy. And again, I could have slowed it down, but did I? No, I did like everything to speed it up and just go full throttle.
Yeah.
And I'm thankful that I'm thankful for that period of time for sure. But I learned so much. And, during that time, it was a challenge for everybody. Like our kids were schooling from home. So my kids were like middle school and late elementary. They're trying to do school from home. A lot of parents aren't working that time. So that made it more manageable for some people. My husband's a real estate broker. He was still working and I was still working also, double. And so trying to juggle the kids' schoolwork and my business and his business, I think we single-handedly kept DoorDash in business during COVID. So then, I'm gaining weight and going all day without eating and then just like shoving my face full of food as soon as I get a chance, never exercising. I was so mentally, and I didn't know it at the time, but I was so mentally exhausted. I mean, there would just be some days that I was like, I can't even think straight. Like I was so mentally exhausted. And just so many challenges that were happening through that. And about a year later, I started really kind of wanting to focus more on taking control of my business in a way that was like manageable. Hired new staff, started having better, stronger systems and things just to navigate my business with a little more wisdom. And then about a year after that, so about a year and a half ago, I really just got so serious. I was like, God put on my heart, am I stewarding well everything that I have? Because the answer is no, I'm not. Like, it looks successful and it's growing and the dollars are coming in, but I'm not taking care of myself. Like, I'm not managing. I say that my family is the most important thing, but at the end of the day, my business was up there. So the way that I was spending my time did not reflect what I felt like and what I would have told you were my priorities. And so I really began just doing some work on myself not with the desire of lose weight or anything. It was I just want to make sure that I'm stewarding well everything that I have. I just want to make sure that I'm like doing things in a way that honors my mind, that honors my body, that honors my family, that, you know what I mean? And so I really got intentional through that time just to start taking better care of myself. And so that's been a year and a half process of just like a journey of trying to just better care for everything that like is under my umbrella. And so a year and a half later, like I feel so great. I feel like I have total balance in my business, in my life. I love my life, and I loved my life back then too, but there were a lot of days that I wasn't experiencing joy. And now I'm like, I really just want to be in my joy zone. And if something isn't my joy zone, like I really don't want it. Like it's not, I've been there
Like
before
math
and I don't want
class.
it. Yes, like math class.
So funny.
Oh, that one challenges me. He coaches me all the time. He will forever be like, well, I'm going to say a Brandi Linn quote here. And he'll say something. And I'm like, oh, God, give me the patience. Give me the patience.
Oh, that's so great. That's so great. Oh my gosh.
Yeah. Yeah. So, and that's kind of how I landed on coaching because I was like, man, I feel like I've just made such changes in my life and I still have a successful business and we still have the Airbnb, like we're still doing all the things that like the world would see us successful, but I also have balance and I'm not sacrificing like anything. Do you know what I mean? And I know so many women struggle with that. Even if you're not a business owner, like if you are a wife and a mom and like none of us are just one thing. Like we've all got a million things that we are like trying to keep our arms around and that feel like the most important thing. And so I really now like I love helping women to just get it all kind of like under control and honed in while still making more money and making more of an impact, but not at the sacrifice of their family or their health or anything else. So yeah.
Love it.
Short answer there.
Yeah, no, it's great. It's great. Yeah, that's people love to hear stories, right? Bring us along the journey. So what were those things like? What was that transition for you, I guess, then from feeling like you weren't experiencing joy and things were kind of, like that, like you talked about, just from how you are now to where you were before and like some kind of key points.
So when I think back of that time, I woke up every morning, and I'm not an anxious person and I'm not a worrier by nature. I'm really pretty chill. But I would wake up every day feeling like so overwhelmed at everything that I knew was going to be on my plate that day. And I had everything felt like the most important thing.
Yeah.
And so the thing is, everything can't be the most important thing.
Yeah.
And so I had to really start asking myself, like, what actually matters? Like, if you, Brandi Linn, were to die today, like, what would you want people to say about you? Like, what would you want to be said at your funeral? Like, I don't really care if someone's like, and we all know that she did these numbers at Sister Bird Boutique. Nobody cares about that. Like, that literally doesn't matter in like the grand scheme of life. And I'm still proud of what we do, and we're still doing those things, but it's not like the biggest thing to me. And so I really had to start getting a handle on just 5 key priorities and allowing myself, because I'm an achiever, I'm a yes girl. I feel like I see solutions to problems. So it's hard for me to do anything a little bit. So everything that I was doing, I felt like I had to do it the most. And so I had to pull back and say, like, what are just the few things that you're going to be focused on, that are going to be like super important to you during this season of your life? And this is something that I coach, is just helping to define your top 5 priorities in life. And these shouldn't be things that change every month. Like, these are things that those are going to be your priorities for probably several years. Like, these are things that deserve my attention for a long time. Like, there's going to be a major change for one of these things to no longer be one of my top 5 priorities. And so I had to start getting a handle on what those 5 things were going to be. The challenge for me was that I was faced with eliminating some things that I was like, ooh, that was up there. But I'm only allowing myself, I can't possibly manage more than 5. I'm only human. There are only so many hours in a day. And it's not going to look like good stewardship for me to run myself in the ground trying to manage more than these 5 things. And so letting go of things that just didn't make sense right now. Doesn't mean that they're not still important to me. They're still important to me. They're just not in my top 5. And so that was huge for me. That is something that I challenge women to do. Just take a look, like, what are the top 5 things? And what do you want that to look like? Like, what are they currently, but the woman who you want to become, like the woman who God has called you to be, like, what are her 5 priorities? And kind of like starting to align myself with that was challenging. After I kind of started to get that under control, I recognized that I would say my husband, of course, is a top priority. But then if you were to open my schedule, there was,
I was going to ask,
nowhere that reflected that was true. And I'm like, you can say all you want, but talk is cheap. And I want to make sure that I'm like walking out what I'm saying I believe. And so I had to start developing very tiny habits, that would support that what I just said about my priorities is true.
Mm.
And that was also a challenge.
Yeah, I was gonna ask you, and maybe even when you work with women, it's probably eye-opening to say, okay, what do you say your priorities are, but then what's actually reflected? If you
Right.
did a time audit, if you looked
Mhm.
at where your time is spent all day,
Right.
what actually are the priorities?
And so I want to be a woman like of integrity, and I don't just want to say something. Like I want to do it. I want
Yeah.
to actually walk it out. I want my life to reflect that what I'm saying is true. And so I had to start developing tiny habits, like not grand changes. Like we always get so hung up on, maybe I'm speaking for myself, that like every thing that we want to do, we approach it like a New Year's resolution, that it's going to be like this grand thing that we're going to do to change our lives. And every time we do that, we set ourselves up for failure. I mean, look at New Year's resolutions. Like by January 15th, they're out the window because we've set ourselves up to fail. And I'm good at that. I'm good at setting myself, because I get so big that and have been for so many years, so all or nothing. And so I had to start doing small things to prove that the things that I say are my priorities are actually my priorities. And so I had to write them down every day and have a list of what are my priorities and what am I doing this week to prove that that's true? What am I doing today to prove that those things are true? And small action steps, very small. I mean, if you're someone who you feel like your life is out of balance, and we'll just go back to marriage just because we already kind of started on that. But let's say that currently, you're going in different directions because the kids and they need all the things, in your situation, you have little kids and they need your hands-on attention. But my kids, we are basically chauffeurs at this.
Yeah.
So we're running here and running there, and you're taking this one and I'm taking that one. And it's like, do we even like hug throughout the day? Like, do we ever just stop and like give each other a hug, or just like send a text message that says, hey, I love you and I'm so happy that you're my husband? Like, that takes no effort.
Yeah.
So,
Oh, I think of that. We used to do that so much when, when we were early in dating, early in marriage, things like that. And I've thought of that now too, especially because of, that little kid stage. My daughter wants to be held constantly.
yeah.
And it's like, we get in bed at night and I'm like, have we even like kissed or hugged or, like, have we even like, just been like, hey, let me put my hand on your shoulder, like we've hardly touched all day just because it's like chaos.
Yeah. And, when I'm running myself in the ground all day long, I definitely have no energy for after hours. It's like, and if we haven't even talked to each other today, like, of course that's going to be impacted, just using that as an example. But really for me also, it was just the way that I was taking care of my physical body. I'm like the main like model for my boutique. And so like gaining 20 pounds is hard because people shop according to my size and my body type. So if I've had customers for years that shopped with me when I was this size and now I've gained weight, they're like confused about what size they need, because they're like, has she gained weight? Like, is that still going to fit me that way? And so that was like challenging. And it's not that I want to be thin, but I do want to be healthy. Like I could go on a whole thing. Like, I think in our society, I'm sorry if this is controversial, but we glamorize obesity sometimes. And you are beautiful no matter your weight, and your value is not dependent upon your weight, but it's not healthy. And I want to be healthy. Like, I've got a 13-year-old and a 15-year-old. When we go to the beach, I want to be able to kayak. We're going boating this weekend. I want to be able to like go tubing. I want to be able to be active and do the things to like keep up with my kids. And I had to really come to terms with that with myself too, and just say, you're just not taking care of yourself. And it has nothing to do with what I looked like. And honestly, I didn't feel any different about myself. I'm probably the oddball out there, but the way that I look doesn't impact how I feel about myself. I could be sitting here in sweatpants and no makeup, and I would feel literally as confident as I do if I was all the way done. You know what I mean? So, but it just wasn't healthy. And so I had to make small choices and tiny habits to get myself on a better track with that too.
Sure.
So lots of tiny habits that had to come into play, but literally the suggestion is this: make your list of 5 priorities and then create just one tiny habit that supports each of those priorities, tiny, and get that habit under control and actually developed as a habit for a couple of weeks, and then maybe add in something else. So it could be, am I even drinking any water in a day? Like, have I eaten a single vegetable? Or we're not going to eat out fast food this week. Or, you know what I mean? Like, every person, it's going to be different.
Yeah. I think I like try and say it, lowest hanging fruit. Like, what is, like, look at these suggestions that I have. What's the one that seems the most doable for you? Let's do that and like build your confidence and like you're like, hey, I did that this week. And then you can, but I love what you're saying about the tiny habits, because I think we make it complicated in our brain and like, oh, I have to do everything. And then, oh, I failed. I give up. I can't do it.
Right.
Versus like it's like our brain wants to keep us stuck almost by making it complicated when we just need to do one small thing.
And I love what you said about developing the confidence, because that's really what it is. We quit because we're not confident that we can do it. And so I had to just say, you're not quitting. Like, you may fall off the wagon, and I have, and I do, but you're not going to quit. Like, you're going to get back on it, and it doesn't have to be next Monday. Like, why am I waiting until next Monday to get back on the wagon? I'm getting back on like right away. And I'm still a work in progress. I think we're all always going to be a work in progress, and every new season is going to like create new challenges, but it is that mindset and the confidence that you need to develop. So set yourself up for just wins. Like, set yourself up for wins, because just like you said, you need to prove to yourself that you can win.
I love that. Set yourself up for wins.
Set yourself up for wins. Yeah. And then with the tiny habits too, after the habits, and this was probably the biggest challenge for me, and I've gotten so much better. And now I'm like, I feel like I'm almost a master. I've almost mastered this. I then had to create boundaries that would protect the habits. So the priorities are going to define, what's most important to you. The habits are going to support the priorities, and then your boundaries are going to protect the habits. And this for me was so challenging. I'm a yes girl. I like to say yes. Probably a little bit of a people pleaser. I would prefer that people like me and think good things about me. I think most of us would, but
for sure.
I had to go back to, when I would be faced with a situation where it was going to be a yes or no or a decision, I had to say, does this fall in line with my priorities? Does this support my habits? Is this going to protect my habits? And I had to come to grips with every time that I said yes to someone or something, I was also saying no to someone or something. So if I said, yes, I can do another live sale today, what did that mean I was going to say no to? That meant I was probably going to say no to evening time with my family. I was going to probably say no to eating well, probably going to say no to exercise, because that was going to cut into all of those things. And I had outlined for myself that taking care of myself needed to be up there on the list. Every woman who I coach in this, I don't know if there has been one who has put themselves on the list of their top 5 priorities. And we need to be on the list. We have to be on the list. And so just keep that in mind. Every time that you are saying yes, which feels good, you want to say yes, you're also saying no. So ask yourself, what am I going to have to say no to if I'm saying yes to this? And we have got to get comfortable saying no. Because when you say no to the things that are wrong for your life, then you can say yes to the things that are actually right for your life. And so I'm saying, no, I'm not going to do 2 live sales a day anymore. Or no, I'm not going to have this employee with these are the hours that she can work. That doesn't fit in my life. That's not actually what works for my business. And so I'm sorry, no, that doesn't work. That now means that I get to say yes to bringing on an employee who has the availability that I actually need without having to sacrifice. So that was hard. And that meant even sometimes saying no to family. We host all the time. Like our house is the hub for all the people. And I knew that I was burning myself out and I felt like I had nothing to give. And so I would say, yes, you can stay the weekend, or yes, you can stay the night. But then I would go into another week just feeling so depleted because I didn't have a single minute to even breathe, like by myself. And, I felt bad having to say no. But at this point, I knew that I needed to start honoring myself before I could continue pouring into everybody else. Cause I was at a point where I had nothing to pour. And when we have nothing to pour, it's really the things that are going to be sacrificed. It's our family and our marriage. That's what's going to go. And so we have to get good at saying no when it makes sense so that we can say yes to the right things. So that was a challenge. It continues to be a challenge for me, but I've gotten better at it, and I allow myself to just evolve and get better and give myself grace. And know that I'm a work in progress. Like I went 40 years with no boundaries. So it's going to take me some time to develop some boundaries.
So yes, because it's and I think like you said, so many of us are a lot of times people pleasers and don't put ourselves on the, so it's like it's uncomfortable to say. I know it's uncomfortable for me to say no because I'm like, oh, they're gonna, I start thinking of all these things that somebody's gonna think of me, and they're not gonna like me if I don't,
Yeah, I think it's so typical for most women.
Yes, agreed.
Really.
Agreed.
I do. And also, if you're a high achieving woman, you probably could say yes. Like you probably could do that thing. You probably could do it pretty well. You could probably do it at your lowest point. This is going to sound so arrogant, but at your lowest point, you're probably still going to do it better than some people's best. Like if you're a high achiever, you're successful, you're like a go-getter, your bottom is still going to be someone else's top. And so it's hard to say no because you could push yourself to do it. But is it honoring those 5 priorities? And so we just have to go back to that.
Yeah. Oh, that's so good. That's so good. I something I've been thinking of with myself is that I think you mentioned at the beginning of how you do one thing is how you do everything. And I just have been kind of thinking of priorities, and I don't want to just be giving a small effort to a million different things. I want to do a certain set of things really well rather than because I found myself I think of that how you do one thing is how you do everything. Okay, if I'm putting in 50% or whatever less or whatever to a bunch of then I'm doing that across the board in my life. I'm a little bit of effort to this thing and this thing and this thing and this thing and this thing versus if I can do it exactly what you're saying, find what are my priorities and really give my all to those, then I think that would be better outcomes all around and joy and fulfillment and things like that, because I'm not oh, I'm kind of, putting my effort to this. I'm kind of putting my effort to this.
Right. And you're just spread thin. And we all have a capacity within our minds of what we can handle. And we all have a limit, and it's like, I think we can just reach that limit, and that's literally when burnout happens, because it's like my brain literally cannot handle one more thing. Like
Yeah.
I would feel so depleted so many days, and
Yeah.
it's just not a good feeling. An easy one that a lot of women fall into. We, on one hand, are complaining that our husband isn't doing XYZ, but then on the other hand, we're complaining when he does XYZ, but not exactly the way that we would do it.
Yeah.
And this is something, one of my sisters just got married a couple of years ago. And when she got married, I said, listen, everything cannot be a hill that you are willing to die on. Like it
Yeah.
just cannot. You're going to wear yourself out. You're going to wear out your husband. And I said, you've just got to learn to care a whole lot less.
Mhm.
Like you have to literally just care less. So
Yeah.
I'm coaching women all the time who are talking to me about being just spread thin and burnout. And I'm talking about, even because I'm big on automating, eliminating, and delegating. And that's a whole other thing that I go through with my coaching clients, so that you can still get all the things done, but not wear yourself
Yeah.
out. And I'm like, guys, listen, out of those 5 priorities, I didn't see anywhere on here that you listed the towels being folded perfectly. That wasn't
Yeah.
on your list.
Yeah. So
Not
why
at
is it
all.
yeah.
So why is that getting your attention? Like if your husband folded, I don't really care if I don't even care if they're folded at all. Crave them
I
into the
know.
cabinet. I literally do not care,
Yeah.
because it's not on my 5 priorities.
Uh,
We try to live with excellence? Yes, but there are just times that it's like
doesn't
certain
matter.
things just are not, they're not a big deal to me
Yeah.
at all. It is nowhere on my list of priorities.
Yeah.
And that will free somebody up today. Like
Yeah.
when you know that you're not the only one capable of loading the dishwasher, and that there are also 1,000 ways to skin a cat. So it does not have to be your
Exactly.
way. Like
Yeah.
it got done. It's fine.
Mhm. So
It's
good. Yep.
fine.
Yes. Much needed. Yeah. I think of a friend like saying that about like trying to delegate or, have her husband like cook, but then like feeling like, well, you're not cooking like what I want you to cook or how I want you to cook it. And it's
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
dinner got cooked and you didn't have to do it. So
Right, right. And I'm the oldest of my sisters, and so I'm always telling them, I'm like, guys, look at my husband. He literally does everything, like everything. And if you want your husband to also do everything, because there'll be like goals that he does, I'm like, you have to stop nagging about how he does what he does. Like, just let
yeah.
him do it.
Yeah.
Like, literally, it's going to make your life so much
So
easier.
much
You will
easier.
just care a whole lot less about the things that just are not on your list of priorities.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. That's so good. Yes. Yes. Low. Yeah. Put your energy to other things, right?
Right, right. Yeah,
So this has been so good. Was taking notes, like talking about the priorities, your habits, your boundaries. So I know so many people are gonna benefit from, just hearing this conversation. So, and you have something coming up where people can find, follow you more, learn from you more. Do you want to tell us about the summit
right.
you have
Yeah,
coming up?
so I've got a summit coming up with a couple of other coaches online in the evening time on September 25th. It's a Monday. And really, it's being designed to help women to just kill it in fourth quarter. Just like,
Mhm.
let's close out the year. Like, why are we waiting until January
Yeah.
to get things, to make changes? Like, let's finish out the year strong
Mhm.
in your life and in your business, so that then when January comes, you're like on fire, you're ready to go. You've already got some wins under your belt. You've got that confidence built, so that the visions that you have, the dreams that you have, like you've got a fighting chance at them.
Mhm.
So that's going to be really super powerful. And you can go to my website, which is allincoaching.com. So
Perfect.
it's a
We'll
triple
link it.
LINN coaching.com,
I love it.
allincoaching.com, to get registered. But yeah,
Awesome. And
yeah,
we'll put that link so that way they can just click it. you know.
Yeah. And there's also a link on my website where you can apply for a free 30-minute coaching call with me just to kind of
Oh,
assess where
awesome.
you're at and where you want to be.
Yeah.
And I will kind of deep dive into a couple of things with you and give you some strategies so that you can walk away feeling the wins. And that's something, anyone who coaches with me, I'm a very action focused person. I like things done yesterday. And so I like to really take massive action on our coaching calls. And
Awesome.
I don't think that we need to wait months or weeks for a breakthrough or a transformation. Like, I think if you come in with the right mindset and we take action, that you can see wins like in that 30 minutes and in our 1 hour calls, with each other weekly. So I encourage people to apply for that. I do not take a lot of clients at once because I know the attention that I like to give my clients. And I also know what my boundaries are. I know that I like a little free time. I know that I like days off. And so I limit the number of clients that I take at one time also. So
yeah, setting your boundaries, right?
yep. Yeah.
There you
Yeah.
go.
I'm like the hardest one to set boundaries with. It's like me. Other people will respect my boundaries. It's me who wants to disrespect my own boundaries. So I'm trying to be better.
There you go. There you go. I know. I feel like it's like sometimes I realize afterwards, like, this violated a
Yeah.
boundary. Okay. Okay. No
Yeah.
more of that. So
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
well, this has been so awesome. Such a rich conversation. Thank you so much
Yeah. Thanks
for
for
all your
having me.
wisdom today. Yes. Yes. And well, maybe we can connect again and talk about your other topics you were
Yes.
mentioning.
Yeah. I would love it. I would love
Yeah.
it. Thanks for having me.
Yes. So go into allincoaching.com, which we will link.
Yep. Thanks.
All
See you
right.
guys later.